All right, so let's say we've heard back to the client. They loved them all, but they wanted to see a little bit of color added. Of course, we haven't added the color, so they wanted us to explore color. And they also wanted us to do a little bit of a gritty texture on some of these to see how that looks. They kind of wanted that grittiness, and they love texture. They wanted to kind of have something that was a little more gritty in nature, and these are all very clean. So they love the overall look of these. They just wanted to add that element. So we can do that. I have a lesson in the first section, if you've already seen that, as adding grunge texture by using a layering mask. We're going to do that right now. I have that free resource, a link to that you can download these kind of textures that we're going to be using. They're just basically JPEG textures that we're going to overlay on top of these. Of course, you can find vector ones as well that you can add on top, so you can scale up that grunge texture nicely. But we're going to use this just to kind of see how the client likes it. So let's start with this lighter color one. We're going to go ahead and make sure that's all grouped together. We're going to go ahead and overlay our texture on top. We're going to make sure the texture is on the top, and we're going to go over and add a layering mask. And then we're going to see if we can't click back on this original one and make it a darker color so you can kind of see the grittiness a little bit more. And let's move this around a bit. Let's go ahead and select this, go back to our layering mask and move this around. I go over this in more detail in the introductory lessons of this course, and I'm just trying to find what I think would be the right kind of grittiness. So there's a little grittiness right there on that one. We can emulate the same thing on the reversed one. So all we have to do is kind of copy and paste this and copy, make it a little bigger. There's kind of our little grittiness involved with those. We can do that similar to, we can use other textures, we can even make our own gritty texture as we did in that lesson, and we can kind of start to apply it to all of these. It's going to be the same method for this next one. We're going to want to make this all darker. So let me go ahead and create outlines here on the type and make this all kind of a dark black. I think the texture will show up a little bit better there. And we're just going to select both, and we're going to make a mask. We're going to select the masked area and kind of shift this around until we have a presentation we like. So just added that little bit of pop-up texture that I think the client is looking for. And I'm going to do the same thing with this other idea. I'm just going to do the same thing, adding that bit of texture. I could probably even just add it here on that outside part. So let me go ahead and copy this and just paste it. And then I can go ahead and release that mask, get that one back. And let's see if we can't just select this circle area. That's a little grittiness, and we can make this circle a bit deeper. And we might be able to use a different texture for this one. There's a lot in that downloadable resource. There's several that you can create. There's vector ones you can find on a lot of those free vector websites. Just type in vector grunge graphics, and you'll be able to kind of find that effect. So we're adding a little bit of that grunge effect to some of them just to kind of show them what that looks like. We also want to be able to start to add color. So we're going to really think about color. It's going to be a little bit easy because these are all very simple logos, so color is probably not going to be too much of a big deal, but let's explore color palettes and see how those look on these three different concepts. And then we can send our second round of revisions with the grittiness added, which was something the client requested, but also with color. So these are really going to be a final presentation. There could be a third round, there could be a fourth round of little changes, but we're going to present the logo like we would send the final files. So we're going to really have everything perfect. So we're going to use grids to kind of make sure everything's perfect and aligned. We're going to add the color. It's going to be our final presentation of these concepts.